Hello all, welcome to Biology Laboratory. Today we are going to discuss chapter 2 of class 12th biology, sexual reproduction in flowering plant. So flower, what is flower? Flower is basically a modified shoot and it develops from the floral primordia. Initially floral primordia develop into the floral bud and then into a flower. Flower is also considered as a reproductive part of a plant and it consists of four whorls. As you can see in this diagram, there are four whorls. The outermost whorl is called calyx and then corolla. Corolla provides color to the flower. Then endoecium. Endoecium is a male reproductive whorl, consists of many stamens. And gynoecium is a female reproductive part of flower and that consists of carpel. Carpel is sometimes also called as pistil. One of the branch of horticulture that is concerned with the cultivation of flower and ornamental plant is called floriculture. Okay, let's see the stamen structure. Stamen is a male reproductive unit and it is consists of two parts. One is anther and second is filament. Filament is attached with a thalamus via their proximal end and distal end is attached with a anther. You can see the TS of anther. So anther is a bilobed structure and it is having ditheca structure. That means what, each lobe is consist of two theca. As you can see in this diagram, in this diagram you can see this filament is available, okay, and that is bifurcating that two lobe, first right side one lobe and left side another lobe, and each lobe is having two compartment and that compartment is called pollen sac or we can say theca. Okay, a longitudinal section that separates the theca, you can see in this diagram that line of dehiscence is available and the line of dehiscence is separating the two theca. Okay, in a cross section of anther in a tetragonal structure consisting of four microsporangia, two in each lobe. You can see here four microsporangia is available. Microsporangia develop further into a pollen sac. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 pollen sacs are available. And anther is also considered as microsporangium. You need to remember this thing. This is a TS of anther. So that anther is consist of basically it is circular and surrounded by four layers. So these layers are outermost layer is epidermis, then endothecium, then middle layer, and the innermost is called tapetum. Okay, the outermost layer, that three layer epidermis, endothecium and middle layers, they are protective in nature and helps in the dehiscence of anther dehiscence of anther to release a pollen. Okay, dehiscence means what, splitting up, so that anther is split and pollen can be released in the air media or whatever the media available. Okay, now the tapetum helps in the nourishment of developing pollen grains. When anther is young, a group of compactly arranged homogeneous cells are there that is called sporogenous tissue and that occupies the center of microsporangium. That are sporogenous tissues containing the homogeneous cells are potent cell that is having ability to form the pollen grains. Okay, then let's see the microsporogenesis. Microsporogenesis is a process of formation of microspore or we can say pollen grain from pollen mother cell or microspore mother cell through the process of meiosis. Okay, so whenever microsporogenesis occurs, a single pollen mother cell can form a 4 microspore. Okay, so because we know that in meiosis one cell can divide into one cell, once divide it will form a 4 cells, so that 4 cell is called microspore tetrad. Okay, tetrad basically means cluster of 4. So here we are saying microspore tetrad because microspore is having in the cluster of 4 cell. Okay, as each cell in the microsporogenous tissue is having potential to form tetrad, so each cell in is considered as pollen mother cell or microspore mother cell. On maturation and dehydration of anther, the spore dissociate and develop into individual pollen grain. Okay, that means what, microspore tetrad separate from each other and they become the individual entity. Pollen grain released with the dehiscence of anther. Okay, this is a typical structure of pollen grain. You can see, so pollen grain basically we find most of the pollen grains are spherical in shape, but we can see variation in the their shape as well. Each pollen grain is having two layer. Outer layer is called exine and inner layer is called antine. They are protective layer. Exine is made up of sporopollenin, that is one of the resistant organic material available in the world. It can withstand high temperature, acid, alkalis and enzymes. Right now we are having no enzyme that can degrade the sporopollenin. It has prominent aperture called germ pore where sporopollenin is absent. Okay, so germination process or sprouting process occur with the help of germ pore. In time it is a thin continuous layer and made up of cellulose and pectin. Pollen grain cytoplasm is surrounded by plasma membrane, and pollen grain has two cells. One is called vegetative cell and second one is called generative cell. As you can see in this diagram, one cell is generative cell, another cell is vegetative cell. So nucleus is available, nuclei of vegetative cell and nuclei of generative cell. Okay, so vegetative cell is bigger, abundant in food reserve and large irregular nucleus. Generative cell is small, spindle shape with dense cytoplasm and nucleus and float in vegetative cells cytoplasm. In 60% species, pollen grains are shed in two cell stage. So two cell stage means what? One vegetative cell and one generative cell. Whereas 40% species of plants shed three cell stage. Three cell stage means what? It is having two generative cell and one vegetative cell. Okay, this is economic importance of pollen grain. So pollen grain is also used as a food for many food supplements for many athletes. Okay, beside that, pollen grain is also stored for breeding program in a pollen bank, or we can say in a in liquid nitrogen in 196 degrees Celsius. Okay, so these are the economic importance. Sometimes pollen also cause allergic reaction, so the person is having this allergic reaction can be having bronchial affliction, asthma or bronchitis. Okay, so this is all for today.